Who's the second one? Claire, no?
Mm.
The second, Dread.
Yep.
Shouldn't be receiving any nightmare combo, at least. Meaning the nightmare combo comes with Dread. That's what I. That's what happened on the first day of. So okay.
The master surveyed his kingdom and found it lacking. His judgment was swift and without mercy. Death to all. The dark fallen orb is
As for him, it's gonna be
I'll slaughter you all.
in that order. And so right after the third salvation, second salvation, it's gonna be him again, then Drank, then wait. Is your DPS? No, please don't say your DPS. Please sing.
And the divine hymn will be called.
Divine Him will be on the fourth. It's only the revival that's gonna be an emergency heal.
So the sequence for the divine hymn. Uh,
Stays the same.
okay. So I'll be the first
So
one.
Idara, the fourth dread, then tranquility, then him. 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes. Tranquility. Hang on. Still fixing groups. I think we're good. Hey, don't go hard on him. Man. We need the second tentacle to be casted. Then push it to 85% so we can have an immediate dread.
Five,
It won't interlap with the nightmare.
one.
The end approaches! None can escape Nizal's grasp.
Okay, incoming.
Psyche
It's dread. Dispel. Okay, good. Perfect. Next will be summoners. Watch out for the puddle. Step on it, you'll get feared. Okay, kill all the summoners, kill all the stuff. Okay, that's the first tentacle. You have 90% on boss. Mind tether, then 8 seconds. Coming up, it's gonna be tentacle. Let it pass through. Tentacle, watch out for it. Push boss. It's on moon. Okay, transitioning. Fear realm. Okay, good. Okay, incoming dread. This is incoming dread. Not sure about the manifest nightmare. Stack out. Dread on loose. Then tentacle. Perfect. We're safe. Then nightmares. Very nice. Then tentacle. Delirium, first Delirium. Dock na taunt ko yung boss. Okay, good. Maddening Eruption, incoming, followed by Delirium Descent. Nightmares, deal with the nightmare. Careful with the tentacle, ah. It's on blue. Tentacle is on blue. Watch out for it. Don't get caught. Delirium, second set. Very good, very good, very good. This is good transition. Dread, top everyone up, top everyone up. Oh, forget to dispel. Don't forget to dispel the people with the that came from the delirium.
Succumb to madness.
Okay, face. Top everyone up. Him.
Champions,
Revival.
open the portal to reality for as long as I can.
Stabilize. Five seconds on Hysteria. 5 seconds. 1 second. 1 more second. Top everyone up. Okay, everyone move in. Transition to the portal.
Beware.
Tentacle. Get inside, guys. Get inside.
Hindi lumalabas yung...
Hindi lumalabas yung special bot.
Button is on the portal. Portal of the summoner, not the
Stand
portal
right on top of it.
right on top of it. Okay, it's gonna be a wipe. We have a maddening eruption going to blow up. Oh yeah. That was good. That was very good. That's the right transition we should be doing every time.
Hindi ko pa rin makita yung
Oo nga hindi ko rin makita.
seryoso.
I got in.
It's the eye with the purple.
The eye behind the summoner. The one that the summoner is pointing at. Yung pinagchachanelan niya.
Oh.
Not the delirium. It's the fear realm. Fear portal. Then the delirium is the puddles, the manic dreads.
So yung parang nakatayong eye,
Yep.
okay, na black yung bilog.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just need to get close to it.
Okay.
Then the extraction button will appear.
And then to get out, you need to get near the list.
Yeah.
Yung purplish portal.
That was a very good try. Perfect transition. That's how it should be. So we've eliminated the Nightmare Dread combo. At the same time, it evens out everything. Ano yung sa dulo? What?
The
Lust would be on the first absorption, yung Dark Pulse. Once he started casting Dark Pulse, we pop Lust since the Delirium people will be on the other side with the 80% haste, also burning it. So we should probably kill it with only one Dark Pulse. With this kind of DPS we have. Oh. Yeah, on the Yuna, since you'll be targeting the boss with the absorption, you call out the bloodlust. Okay? Hindi nila makikita.
Okay.
I mean, oh yeah. Oh wait, shit. Forgot to update it. How come it's not updating?
Just as soon as he casts the shield, I'll call for lust.
Yep.
Okay.
So same stuff, guys. Yeah.
Yung sa transition for phase 4, are we chaining healing cooldowns at a time? Say for example, so I go him first and Trank. The transition, yung malakas yung
Because of hysteria. Yeah.
Okay.
Yung him muna. First your him, then
then
revival na.
revival.
No, revival.
Okay. So and the rest, you're just going to have to call them when to use it, because we still have Sears him.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
So yeah, it's just for the upcoming manic dreads na. Cause I was expecting that we would be getting for like I didn't expect that we were doing that good. That's why I called out na right after salvation it's gonna be your him again. Then so on. So.
ano,
Yes, go ahead.
after share, tapos trunk, diba? Second dread.
Yes, second dread.
Okay.
It's Trank.
Sorry, Claire. I was asking for the phase
Okay.
4.
Yeah,
May bahan ako.
phase 4.
and I have to ask this, Dread, are you okay?
Why? Are you okay?
In
What?
a really good mood today compared to yesterday, so I had to ask if you have a fever or something.
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
Okay.
Cocaine
They had
is
some
one
of
hell of a
Carity's
drug.
cookies.
Thank you, Carrie. Please bake some of those cookies more.
We had the boss for like what 37%. We can kill this today. Just repeat it again. The whole transition part. I mean the whole delaying DPS. Set it for like 87%. Then after the tentacle get casted to 85. Shut up, Doc.
Yeah, really helps a lot.
Shush, shush. It's not yet legal, di ba?
5, 4,
Not here.
3, 2, 1.
Pero back here, it's legal. Hang on. Okay, dread, first dread. Boom. Good. Summoners coming up. Watch the puddle. Then switch to ads quickly. Melee, kill this summoner. Tentacle, first tentacle. It's on star. Perfect. One more summoner. Range, deal with it. Mind tether, Doc. I get the vision. Move it closer. Who has the... Okay, got it. Okay, tentacle coming up. Oh, we push it too hard. Tentacle first. Watch the tentacle. It's on star again. Okay, move. We'll have dread. 5 seconds. So you can take it. Stack up, guys. Dread. It's tranquility. Then tentacle. Tentacle, we're safe. It's on mode. Careful with the manifest nightmares. Delirium, first delirium coming up. Then tentacle again. Maddening Eruption, locating it, but watch out for the tentacle. Manifest Nightmares, watch it. Right out further that dock is Delirium Descent. Okay. Tentacle coming up. Locating it.
Near the portal.
Just behind us. Just behind us. Delirium, second set. Revival. We took a lot of damage. Should probably call him for that. Nightmares. 1 more %. Yep. We transitioned a bit quicker than the previous. Wipe it up. Just don't hit it too hard till we get the second tentacle. Should be right around 88 to 87%. Horrific Vision is that. Small ads.
It's too far away.
Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dread first. It's good. Next is our summoners. Let's watch it. Move away from it. Kill those ad. Then tentacle. Incoming tentacle. It's on star. Careful on star.
Has spoken.
87% on boss. Let's watch out for the. Okay, let the. Okay, should be fine. Tentacle. It's the left of us, right of us. Moving. Shit. The fucking trinket. Ba't naka-orangutan trinket ako? My god. Heal up, then nightmares. Tentacle coming. We're safe, it's on Moon. Delirium. Then grass. It's gonna be tentacle. Maddening Eruption and Nightmares. Nightmares done. Tentacle. Delirium, second set. Okay, Revival. Can we have a him here?
We will not
Done na po.
Healthstones to Warlock.
champions. I will hold up the
CDs, personal CDs,
as long as I can.
Okay, here we go. Top everyone up, top everyone. 5 more seconds, 4 more seconds. Him, another him.
Here, that's
Just to
here.
be safe, just to be safe. Okay, portal, first portal, get in. Kill the summoners, nightmare still going up. Manic Dread coming up. Move the boss. Dock eruption. Taunting and taunting. Oh shit.
Hindi mo mababot.
Yeah, it didn't go. Continue. Then we go to Talistra. Delirium, first Delirium. Oh, go out. Everyone go out. Delirium get in.
The shield is up, huh?
Yeah, the shield is up. Last. Next will be Maddening Eruption and Summoners. Delirium people. Kill the shield.
Shield is
We're
down.
good. We got it. Tentacle coming up. You guys can move out. Spell them. Okay, summoner portal. First summoner portal. Get inside, guys. Kill the summoners. Just kill the summoners. Eruption of the boss towards that.
GS, Doc. Never mind.
Tentacle. Watch Tentacle, ah. Gripping Vision. It's just behind the boss. Tentacle. Panic Dread. Okay, good. Delirium, get in. Everyone move out. Taunting. Get to Talisra. Then we move out. Press the action button, move out, guys. Tentacle. Delirium people, get in. Yeah, BS. Delirium, get in. Dark Pulse is going out. Need to burn it. Almost there. Come on. Shit. Oof.
I'm really sorry. That one delirium, I had to go in. I got hit with the rune thing, and I had to get off the.
13%.
Yeah, Brian and I had it while we were trying to go
Okay.
in.
What cooldowns were up? By that time,
Salvation.
Salvation is up.
Actually,
Okay.
most cooldowns are up at the time.
Okay. Let's just wipe this.
We were inches though. That shield was almost gone again.
Yeah. Definitely need that. The rest of the delirium. Oh, if anyone else could. Wait. Yuna was dead. Who was still? Spectable was dead, right?
I think all of them got battle red.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Just in case it happens again, and we have a delayed B rest. Second delirium, you can go. Shouldn't be that. Yeah, it will take 5 stacks of the delirium, delirium D. Oh, walang last
We didn't get yung sated buff.
Like we need Bloodlust.
Yeah, you have 80% haste.
Or second dust for us when we go out. Or
Yes,
like when
sure.
we get inside fear.
Yeah, hold your lust since Spectacle is with you. You can lust outside. Right after you kill the shield. So the 3 of you can lust. Let's do this one again. Oh, wala rin ng buffs. Even the fort? Oh, okay.
Di ba bug fix yun?
I think, parang na-bug fix na yun, di ba?
Nasa bug fix yun, it shouldn't go away.
5, 4, 3, 2.
No, should be salvation. Definitely should be salvation.
Can escape Nizal's grasp. Give in to
Dread.
despair.
Good. Summoners. Okay, switch to summoners, guys. Switch to add.
Beware.
Have a lot of time. First tentacle. Okay, think it is on X. Watch out. It's on X. Last summoner. 88% on boss. Mind tether, doc. Come it closer.
Can escape Nizal.
Okay, tentacle. Casting in 2 seconds. Watch out for the tentacle, okay? Incoming tentacle. It's on blue. Watch out, watch out. Okay, Dread coming up. Stack up, stack up. Easy healing. Stack on the healing, healing circle. Dread coming up. Then tentacle. Then nightmares. Tentacle coming up. Locating. We're safe. It's on blue. Nightmares. Guys, adjust. Delirium, first set. Crashing Grass, Tentacle. Okay, here we go, Nightmares.
Ironbark Dark.
Beware.
Tentacle coming up. Move it a bit though. We're safe. It's on orange. Delirium, second set. Heal up and dispel those who have and can we have a revival?
Your psyche will break.
That's Dread. Up everyone up. Can we him?
We will not succumb to madness.
GS Doc.
Champions, I will hold open the
Continue,
portal to
continue.
reality for as long
Heal
as
up.
I can.
3 form if possible. Emergency heals na talaga. I think we transitioned a bit faster. Yeah. That's way too quick.
I'll
Wait,
go
wipe
in
it up, wipe it up.
portal.
Yeah, wipe it up, wipe it up. Oh, don't release, we have mass rest. You shouldn't be getting another set of dread, probably.
The little ads, are they being picked up or?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're trying to. I mean, I'm trying to.
Man, it's so scary coming out of that first delirium. I had like 14 stacks. It hurts so much. Yeah, only the very first one.
Because I think by that time you guys entered the realm with 5 stacks of hysteria already.
Step forth and be judged in the eyes of invention. Together, we will reclaim our true legacy.
It's also kind of demoralizing when you pop out and see all the priests are dead.
Let's say before entering 5 stacks, share maghim ka na on the 5th stacks of hysteria. Then on the 7th stack, it will be topped up by revival. Yung suggestion mo, Sir, okay siya kung hindi ka ma-fear. But the chances are 70-30. You get the dread. Kaya that's why we pre-salvationing it. Yan, if it was a paladin or shaman, it should be. Pero since we have healing, the healing composition is like this. Yun lang yung mga counter, and I'm just thinking of what's better, what can suit us. Healers DPS then right after we kill the summoners or during summoner, try to DPS the summoners. Helps a lot.
4, 3, 2, 1.
11%, guys. That's the percentage to beat. Just kill it. First dread, lapit natin dock na konti. Easy healing. Incoming. Here we go. Good. Summoner set. Kill summoners. Then tentacle. Tentacle coming up. Locating it. It's on orange. Kill the summoners. Not the boss, summoners. Melee, just kill the visions. Can take it. Okay, hang on. 2 seconds on the Okay. Grass. Tentacle, it's on X. Corruption, wait lang Doc, Oh shit. Hanip tong attack dog ko ngayon. Okay, Dread. Good. Grass and Nightmare. Tentacle. It's on Moon. We're safe. Delirium. The fifth stacks, it's gonna be shares him. Tentacle first. Move muna tayo Hintayin mo lang yung move. Before casting it. So, Eruption. Manifest Nightmare, go. Position up chair, then cast it. We're safe, it's on orange. Six. Delirium. 7. Hold on, hold revival. Be respectable. Revival. Heal up.
We will not succumb to madness. Champions,
Personals, guys. Healthstone.
Iron
Stacks
Bat.
Healthstone. 6 seconds, 5 seconds on stereo. We're
Hindi ko
susceptible.
pa rin sila Meg.
Probably in the delirium. Orchestra, you'll be taking the first one. Okay, get in. Closest summoner, get in. Everyone get in. Okay, move to eruption. Holy shit. What happened to the dami? Two healers down. Continue. Panic Dread, Dispel, Tentacle. Salvation, I died.
2 minutes pa.
Oh shit.
Shoot the
That's... I get tunneled.
We're going out.
My bad.
We're going out now.
Yeah. Talisra? Or... Do we still have...
paddle dun sa kay Talisman.
Can't go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my bad. Was supposed to call it. Natagpuan mo yung katawan ni Susceptible? Natagpuan mo nga, namatay ka naman. Wala din.
Ay, kasi pagpasok ko bilang may tentacle.
Ingat lang, careful with the tentacle. If it's an incoming tentacle, better be safe na wag mo na lumabas. Try to ice block it and just be safe for it.
Dread, can we just cycle mass dispel for phase 1 to 3? Wag lang sa...
Phase 1, 2.
I mean, yung first few dreads, like 3 ata yun, tatlong dreads. So,
Should only getting 3, yeah, 3.
and then when we hit the phase 4, we just stagger it.
Yeah, dahil
Since
panic that doesn't
we're cycling cooldowns anyway. So.
okay. Sure.
Okay, here, get the second one.
Should always be up. yung mass dispel. It's only 45 seconds. So all dreads will be mass dispelled. So everyone stack up. Mostly stack up. Then yung manic dreads will be staggered. Careful lang Duday sa bitaw na ano. Siguro on the third one. On the third manic dread saka pwedeng magat. Pagka halimbawa ikaw-call ko yung revival, on the third one yung decisive moment mismo. Since nakaka-dispel ang revival, baka lalo tayong mamatay. Kaya sa third ano ka na lang. In third person I dispel.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The end approaches. None can escape Nizal's grasp. Give in to despair.
Okay, here we go, Dread. We missed one. We're good, we're good, we're good. Talaga naman si Francis na tumakbo pa sa palikod eh. Bibo, pabita. Pentacle. It's on star. Watch out. Stop on boss. It's 87%. Kill the summoner. One more summoner. Kill the vision.
Can escape Nizal's grasp.
Okay, good. Perfect. This will be Dread.
New.
Watch out for the Tentacle. Tentacle is on Moon. Eruption, then Dread. Right after Dread, it's gonna be Nightmares.
Sight
Okay, here we go. Incoming Dread. Up. Tentacle, Nightmares, watch it. We're safe. Delirium. First Delirium set, then Tentacle. My tether is good. On the other side, it's on X. Eruption is on X. Followed by Tentacle. Tentacle is on orange. Move it a bit. Watch out. Second Delirium. Perfect. Someone get in. Be respectable. Revival. Oh shit. Wrong call.
Top 7.
We will not succumb to madness.
Wipe it.
Champions,
7 with Dread. With Dread yun eh. Shouldn't happen.
Okay.
Shouldn't be getting another Dread.
Transition.
It's almost 50, diba? It's almost ano. We need to push boss before that Dread. So we should have around 7 stacks only. And the Delirium people should only have like 14 maximum. 12.
Many deals for a friend of the Grummles. Like you. Farewell, friend of the Grummles.
We can push boss right with only 3 delirium people having with no blood. Can we? I think we could.
Many farewells.
Yeah, I think we could. We can only get 1 delirium set. Let's try lusting on the first eruption. Lesser hysteria, the faster we face into the last phase. Lesser hysteria stacks. Should be fine.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Dread. Good. Summoner. Okay, summoners go. Tentacle. It's on blue. Tentacle is on. Perfect. Okay, 87% on ball. Mind tether. Don't be close to the tanks, huh? You might get the mind tether. Tentacle. It's on us. Move a bit on the dito to. Or that way. Okay, never mind. Stack up, guys. Dread coming up. 2 seconds. 2 seconds, huh? 2 seconds. Dread. Okay, last. Pick up the, no? Pick up the face. Tentacle. Nightmares. Watch it. We're safe on Tentacle. It's on stop. Heal Doc. Delirium. First set of Delirium. Then we have Grass. It's Tentacle. And Maddening Eruption. Nightmares coming up. Okay, Maddening Eruption is Tentacle, watch it. Tentacle is near orange. It's right next to orange. Delirium, go. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. They can still go for it. We have cooldown.
We will not succumb to
It's perfect. Delirium out.
Healing.
Top everyone out. Alright, perfect, perfect, perfect. Just reserve na, reserve
as I can.
revival. Manic Dread. Dispel. Okay, heal, heal, heal. Okay, summoners. Summoner next to us. Get in. Watch out for the Delirium Paddle, ah. Watch out for the Delirium Paddle. Eruption, watch out for Tentacle. Tentacle on orange.
GS on dock, GS on dock.
Moving to Eruption. Good Doc, okay na yan. Kill the remaining summoners. Patay na naman ang isa. Second cooldowns, Tentacle, it's on us. Move the boss a bit. Everyone exit out. It's time to exit. Go, go, go. Dark Pulse coming up. Deliriums.
Almost there.
Something yung DPS, guys. Oh shit.
Di umabot.
3 of you?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yep. I think masyadong matagal kami dun kaya nababad sa damage. Ayun, napalabas si Lamix na maaga.
No, you know what it was is I went in Delirium Realm a little too early. So when the shield went up, I had already been out.
Oh, okay.
So you just did it with 2, you didn't have 3. My bad.
Oh. That's fine.
Revel in N'Zoth's glory.
I'm out of range.
So just to make it clear, the Delirium portals are permanent. They will stay there throughout the whole fight. Just only get in once the Dark Pulse is being cast. Or 5 seconds before I'll try to announce.
I feel bad because you're tracking so many things as it is.
Yeah.
I have
And also keeping track on the cooldowns we have. Anyway, okay. What could go wrong anyway?
So just to reiterate, when Dark Pulse is being cast, you guys all go through the portal to the other side. Should I be joining you for that, then taking Delirium later?
No, you can get inside the Delirium while in the Fear Realm. I think you can. Yeah, you can. You can. You can.
Yeah,
step
that's
on
what I
the-
was wondering, because I come out of the Delirium Realm, eventually everything stabilizes and it's good, and then you're like, everyone get in, and I'm like, should I do that, or should I just wait for Delirium?
No, I'm only telling the Fear Realm people. The Deliriums, just do. You can just wait outside since you won't be taking any Hysteria on the normal realm. Because once you enter the Fear Realm, you'll instantly take a Hysteria stack. So Delirium group will just stay on the normal realm.
Okay, I understand now. I just didn't want to take unnecessary damage. I didn't know, like, if we're going to be hit with something and I should be away from...
You shouldn't be getting hit by anything outside except for the tentacle, of course, or loose ads. But we're doing good with the ads anyway. Need 3 minutes BRB. Okay, let's take a 10 minutes break anyway. Oh shit, that's me. My bad. Sorry,
And
guys.
the healers will still be able to reach us, right? If you guys go into the other realm.
No.
No.
We will be meeting right on the normal realm right after you guys burn the absorption shield on the dark pole.
Okay.
That's the only time you will be receiving heals from the healers. I mean, there's nothing going on in the normal realm anyway. It's only on the fear realm, except if you get hit by the tentacle. That's the only thing that you can take damage from. Oh, break 10 minutes break. Sorry about that. I'm gonna take my coffee.
I need to get closer. It's too far away.
How you doing, man?
I got the best deals anywhere!
Do we have live logs, by the way?
Yes, we do.
Can I see it? Wanna see something. Wanna check on something on the timing. Thank you. Sir,
Yup.
yung first Manic Dread, pre-salvation mo. Because we won't be getting the third one
Yeah, I know.
with this
Sige,
kind of...
sige. Alright.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're checking Tranquility. Where's the Tranquility? So, on the 3.5, what happened? 1:30 yung Tranquility. So it would come back after 3 minutes. 3.30. Medyo madedelay pala yung ano. So Manic Dread comes first, then Pre-Salvation, then Tranquility again. Third one. Okay.
Okay, ready checking again.
Flask up. First carry. Sakto pala yun. 1:30. 1:30 with Lust is Tranquility. May dread nung ano yun. Okay. Carry's just right there. The stairs. Do you see it? Yeah. And there she's back. Carry, you good? Alright, let's go. 11% to beat. Let's kill this.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Perfect execution lang. Ah.
The end approaches. Open your mind.
Dread.
Your psyche will break.
Summoners. Then Tentacle. Tentacle. It's on Moon. Moon and Dex. Get the summoners, guys. 87% on buff. Hang on. 2 seconds. Okay. Push boss. There we go. Tentacle. Watch out for Tentacle. It's on Star. Manifest Eruption. World Tour. Ika nga niya, no? It's a World Tour. Okay. Delirium. Dread first. Dread. Second one. It's 130. Lust. Pick it up. Then Delirium. Nightmares. Watch it. Tentacles behind that. Yuna told you to watch that. Delirium. Get in, get in. Nice there. Very good. Nightmares. Disruption. Oh. Tentacle coming up and Delirium Dock. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Dispels ready. You now, watch your health. Dispels. Ready, yeah. Dread? Oh no, we have Dread. Didn't cast, didn't cast. Good, 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 good.
Champions, I will hold up
Use
the
GS on Yuna na.
for as long as I can.
Heal up. Okay, here we go. Last phase. 3 seconds on the last remaining Hysteria. One more, okay, we're closest closest summoner portal. Okay, get in. Everyone get in except for the delete. Tentacle, watch it. It's on orange. Orange, move. Don't get hit. Tana. Kill the summoners. Kill them immediately. We shouldn't be wasting our time here. Kill the summoners. One more summoner.
Jason Doc.
One more summoner. Heal up.
I'm healing now.
Tentacle. Watch the tentacle. Then Talisra. Delirium. Oh, we're gonna die. Yeah. Yuna delayed yung ano mo.
You hear that, Yuna? You failed!
And Spectable died also. How he died? Guys, how did Supek die?
Is upon you. Beware.
Manifest Dread?
Revel in Nizal's glory.
Manic Dread, sumama ka sa Fear Realm?
Many deals for a friend of the Grumbles. Like you.
Oh, Horrific Vision. Oh.
Good fortune to our friends.
It's the ad, I think.
I have many lucky doos you like.
So, when we left the Delirium Realm for the first round, and we're kind of hanging out in limbo while you guys are off doing your thing, I really feel like we should join you until Delirium comes back up, because when we were in normal realm, I felt like I was dealing no damage and we were getting hit by all of the ads. It's like because no one's there and we're attacking, they kind of like come at us, you know, and I almost died. I had to pop like potions and whatever to live.
Okay.
So it's no doubt, you know, Perspectable died.
Oh, I see. See, you guys can come to Feargram also.
No, I'm gonna stand by what I said. He's Perspectable from now on.
Eat up. Okay, let's go.
5,
Timing, just perfect timing.
2, 1.
Get the hang of it. Dread first, 5 seconds. Summoners. Watch the paddle. Then Tentacle.
Beware.
Tentacle is on blue. Dok pa ng boss. I think it's on. I think.
Can escape Nizal's grasp.
Okay, Tentacle coming. Push boss. Tentacle, watch out. It's on us. It's on Moon. World Tour, move out. What happened to Leech? Here is a Leech if possible. Oh, he's on the normal run. Can't beat us. Okay, last. Dispel the Dread. You guys forgot to stack up. Instant Dispel. Tentacle. While dealing with nightmares, it's on orange. Tentacle is on orange. Watch. Clear. Delirium first set. Okay, Maddening Eruption, locating. It's gonna be on X, I guess. Or, yeah.
Beware.
Watch the Tentacle. Tentacle on Star. Visions. Second Delirium set. Get in.
Ah, sorry.
Okay.
We will not succumb to madness.
Okay, wipe it up.
Champions,
way behind.
I will hold open the portal to reality for as long as I can.
Dark Beyond, getting knocked off.
Now you understand. All will revel in Nizal's glory.
Watch where the tentacle is spawning, okay? Shouldn't he be getting knocked off the inner circle. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Focus, focus. 11%.
I have many wares. Farewell, friend of the Grummles.
Putting down fish face. Feast up, feast up. No, Vantus is for Ashara only. There's no reason to Vantus this.
Five, four, three, two.
That's the new feast.
Approaches.
That's 131 primary stat. Dread.
Grasp. Your sight.
Stock up, guys, for Mass Dispel. Perfect. Good, good. Next is Summoners. Watch the puddle.
Beware.
Tentacle. Doc, it's on me again. We are not safe, Doc. Selvatarm, dead again. God. Anara, take it. Next time, ha? Wag tingin agad. Pwedeng delay yan sa, ano. Push boss. Eliminate ad. Okay, tentacle. Watch it, watch it. Don't die, please. Okay, wipe it up. Wipe it. He won't beat the... Just wipe it, wipe it.
Your psyche will break. Beware. Run away, little girl.
Lakas talaga dot niyan. Tanky nga, pinapatay kami. Okay, ano, tingin agad ang tentacle. It's the white shiny thing on the edge of the room.
Well, what I mean earlier was there's the rim of the room, it lights up, then where it meets, that's where the eye would be. So you don't have to look up.
Face is still up. Eat it. And it's gone. Fort.
Ay, sorry. Wrong button.
Let's go.
Five, four, three, two, one.
The end approaches. None can escape.
Incoming Dread. 3 seconds. Casting now. Watch out for the puddle.
Beware.
Tentacle. Sunstar. Kill the visions. Melee visions. 87 on boss. Okay, push boss. Tentacle, watch out. Tentacle on X. Wait lang to. We're coming. Dread coming up. Stack up. Hurry up. Trunking. Lost. Tentacle, then Delirium. It's on us. Move a bit. Tentacle is on us. Careful, careful. Delirium. Then Tentacle. Sino tong pari na lalapit-lapit sa amin? Mamatay ka pagka ikaw nakuha ng tete.
Ako yun. Lumipat ako.
Moving. Watch out for the... okay, we're safe. That's the second delirium. Push boss 4%. Shouldn't be getting this dread. 5 seconds on dread. 1 more percent.
We will not succumb to madness.
Okay, perfect. Top everyone up.
I will hold open the portal to reality for as long as I can.
5 seconds. Remaining 10 seconds on Bri. Same as Yuna. Panic Dread, Dispel. Personals, ready? Puddle. Watch the puddle. Oh, we get inside. Fear Realm. Watch the puddle,
Yeah, that was my bad. I'm sorry.
Watch the puddle. Okay, kill the last summoner. More summoners. Doc, eruption. Holy shit, we missed the eruption.
Yeah, I missed it. Okay, sorry.
15 seconds in shield.
Yeah, wipe it, sir.
So, timing is first set of summoners get in, then eruption comes up, followed by the tentacle with manic dread. Manic dread comes out first muna pala. Dispel the manic dread, then we transition to the next round. That's the first manic dread, no? Should have salvation on that. Five seconds, Yuna. 5 seconds before that, before getting in. Kasi you have 5, you need to have 5 stacks of the delirium, di ba? Yeah, pasok kayo sa Fear Realm. Everyone gets in the Fear Realm, no exception. Well, probably you can go on 7 seconds before that the dark. So you have a heads up on your build up of the corruption. 。 Feast up, feast up.
Five,
Let's kill this, let's kill this, guys.
3, 2, 1.
Focus up. Don't make it a regression. Need progression, not regression. Dread. Summoner. Watch out for the puddle. Don't be in the puddle. Okay, good. Kill the summoners, guys. Incoming tentacle. It's on X. Kill the remaining summoner. Okay, force. Okay, eruption with tentacle. Tentacle is on blue. World tour, doc. World tour. Okay, go cross. Incoming dread 5 seconds. Stack up, guys. Here we go. Pre-trunking. Then nightmares. Nightmares going on. Tentacle, we're not safe. We're not safe. Watch out, watch out. Okay, first delirium. Get in. Next is tentacle with eruption. %62%. Eruption going up. Watch out for tentacle. Tentacle on moon, near moon. Delirium, second set. 4%. Don't let the dread cast, huh? Oh, it's gonna be casted. Salvation.
We will not succumb to madness.
That's not a good transition. Heal up him. Oh no.
I will hold open the portal to reality for as long as
Continue, continue. Resing you na. Okay, first set. Shot for the puddle, puddle. Don't be in the puddle. Okay, get inside. Everyone gets in. Tentacle. Tentacle is on summoner. Okay, move to eruption. We taunted the boss. Move it closer. Okay, let's everyone move outside towards the Lisa. Panic Dread, Dispel. Oh no shit. Why are you? Move out, move out. Ah, wrong timing, but may Manic Dread to. We should have waited. Waited it to be dispelled. Manic Dread. Was that the second one or first one? First Manic.
Dread, hindi rin naabot yung ano, kahit i-last mo yung second, ano, it's
Iniiwasan ko lang, Dok, yung high stack ng hysteria eh. Kasi nawalan tayo ng physical debuff. Nawala si Black Bomb. Ay, meron pa pala tayong mo. Pwede. Okay.
When we were in the first Delirium realm, what was there was a massive explosion that knocked me right out of the realm, like quickly.
That's the phase transition. It automatically knocks you out.
No, I mean, it almost killed me. It killed me, knocked me out. It was like a big boom. Usually when Tharissa speaks, that's when it pulls us out. But it doesn't really deal damage, you know?
No, it was the dread. The third dread. That we shouldn't be getting. Yeah, DPS was a bit low.
Then after that happened and I got knocked out of the realm, there was another like beam that came off of the side of the platform and did a massive amount of damage too. What's that?
Let me check.
No, I don't think it was a tentacle. I mean, that's pretty easy to avoid.
It's not even Dark Pulse. So let's see it again. Let's try to see it. Okay, let's go. Just need to be consistent.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The end approaches! None can escape Nizal's grasp. Your psyche will break.
Okay, Summoner. Watch out for the puddle. By moving. Incoming tentacle. Very good. Last remaining summoner. Okay, 3 seconds. Okay, go ahead, push. Tentacle. It's on star. Wait lang, Doc. For it to be cast, okay, move across. It's gonna be Dread soon. 5 seconds, guys. Position up. Dread coming up. Then Nightmares. Tentacle. Tentacle is on orange. Move a bit. Nightmares, watch out. Kester, watch it. Delirium, first set. We're gonna have Crushing Grass, 7 seconds, and Maddening Eruption. Nightmares, possible nightmares. Eruption going out. Eruption on start. Watch the tentacle. Tentacle is on moon. It's on moon, but we're safe. Delirium, second set. Push boss. 2%. 1%. Oh, it's casted. We have dreads.
Succumb to madness.
Health stones, health stones.
Champions, I will hold open the portal to reality for as long as I can.
Experiencing bright. Normalize. Okay, summoners. First set of summoners. Make this perfect, huh? Summoner next to us, then we move in. Everyone move. Tentacle. Near us. It's near us. Careful, careful. Next summoner doc.
GS and Doc.
Eruption, eruption, eruption. Move it closer. Okay, good. Woo! Just in the nick of time. Manic Dread. Dispel the Dread first, then we move out. Tentacle.
5 seconds.
Careful,
to shield.
careful. Delirium rounds, go. Start moving out. Didn't make. What happened there? Did we miss a portal? First Manic Dread yan, no? What killed you at the delete? Yuna crushing grass. What? I think your HP was bit too low. Maybe. Let's summon Block Bomb. Probably this time we'll beat the timer. We're 1%, 2% short on every transition phase.
Let's stagger lang yung dispel for the later part.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Let's kill this, let's kill this. Okay, first dread, 5 seconds. Coming. Purple. Paddle, paddle, paddle. Okay, kill all the ads. Tentacle. It's on Moon. In between Moon and X. 88%. Kill of the last summoner. Mind tethered up. Creeping. Okay, push boss now. So we have Tentacle and Erupt. Watch out for Tentacle, it's on blue. Go around it. Doc, dito tayo. Okay, move across. Positioning, Dread coming up. Stack up, guys. Stack up. Black Bomba, wag dito. Watch out. Okay, last. Dreads. Supposed to be Tranquility. Okay, we're good. Then Tentacle. Nightmares, watch it. Tentacle, we're good. We're good. Deliriums, first set. Maddening Eruption and Tentacle. So Eruption, go, ready. It's on Moon. Move across. Tentacle. It's directly on us. Delirium. That's not a good one. Second Delirium. Silverterm, get it. Oh no. Nobody got in. Oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just stay. Transitioning. Did we get Dread? No? Did we? Not? Okay. Easy up. Focus. Summoners. Okay na tayo, meron na tayong ally. We're good. Get in. Everyone get in. Kill the summoners. We have Tentacle. Oh shit. Almost got it. Who died? Eruption. Oops. It was too late. We're still good. Panic Dread, Dispel, move out, and
Isa lang.
one at a time. Tentacle on us. Come on. You should be getting out of this part. Just wipe it. Lost a lot of people. What's going on, guys? Where's the 11%? Where's the 11% try?
Beware, Stan. Revel in N'Zoth's glory.
Eat your feast. Eat the feast. We should always be getting to that, to that point. Flask up, food up. Stay with the plants here.
4, 3, 2.
We had it 11% now. Why change it now?
None can escape Nizal's grasp. Your psyche will break.
Just don't wanna risk it. Tentacle. %86% on boss. Don't hit the boss way too hard. Wait, translation. Tentacle on us. Sun Moon. Watch it, huh? Dread coming up. 5 seconds. Pre-trunking. Ready now.
Your psyche will break. Beware.
Tentacle. Nightmares, watch it. We're safe. Tentacle is on X. Delirium, first set. Give it all you got. Offensive CDs, don't forget. Incoming nightmares. Eruption is on X. Tentacle, watch it. It's behind you, Doc. It's near us. Delirium. Ignore delirium. Ignore delirium. CDs na lang.
We will not succumb to madness.
Okay, perfect.
Champions, I will hold open the portal to reality for as long as I can.
Psyche will break.
Panic Dread. Watch out for the puddle. Puddle. Stay away from those red puddles. It's deadly. We get in. Tentacle while having tentacle, huh? Watch the tentacle. It's on moon. It's on moon. Tentacle on moon. Moving. Eruption. Watch out for the puddle, huh? Kill the summoner. So we can move out immediately. Coming grass and manic dread. Doc, let's go. Let's move out. Tentacle, watch it. Everyone move out, move out. Alisra.
Iron Bark Dock.
Okay, Deliriums. Kill this kill this ship. Everyone shield, kill shield, kill shield, almost there.
Shield
Okay,
down.
we got it, we got it, we got it. Move out, move out. Delirium, move out. Dispel them. Panic Dread. One at a time, huh? Wait, one more. Holy shit. I got you right. Okay, next set of summoners, get it. Don't be confused of the portal. Till the summoners. Eruption. Summoners, guys. It's all about ads. It's all about ads. Tentacle. Tentacle is on green. We're clear. Go. Reset na tayo, Doc. Moving out, moving out. Manifest.
Yes, on dock.
Nightmares, huh?
Big rest they have.
All deliriums, get in. All deliriums, 1 and 2, get in, get in. Try to get in. We need to beat this, Absorption, 4 seconds, kill this absorption. Come on!
Shield down.
Yes, shield down. Okay, no, ignore summoners, kill the bot.
Tentacle.
Tentacle. 8%. Gather the ads. Just boss, guys. Just kill the boss. That's 5 mil, just only 5 mil. Grass. Tentacle, watch it. 2%, 2 million, only 2 million, guys. 1 million. 300k. Okay.
Nicely done. It is so rare for mortals.
Okay, let's call it a night.
Expectations.
Good night.
If only
Bye bye.
my friends had been as capable. That human novice and the pale elf with the sword. Ah well.
Actually, mas okay yung Duday kasi kung nag-revival ka, patay tayo.
Now, is that any way to repay me for my generosity? For the privilege I have seen fit?
I'm not ready for Ajara.
Come, heroes. Prove yourselves.
Honestly, I'm not ready for Ashara.
Find me in the circle of stars.
Yeah, I'm not ready, period.
We should go easy mode for the last half hour and just plow through normal.
Oh, we could do that. No Ultron, no Ultron for now. Just focus up on the mains first. Yeah, let's have an early call. Just relax and enjoy this enjoy this progression. Yeah, it's 12 a.m. anyway. So for I'm not sure if I can make it tomorrow for your Saturday, but can we do it on Monday? Because I can't go come online tomorrow. Anyone else good for Monday?
Do ready check.
Doing a ready check or Sunday. Sunday. Let's say Sunday. Let's go Sunday first. This is for Sunday. Ready check on Sunday. Sunday is 29. I don't know.
28.
I think 28. Sunday. This is for Sunday.
May your feet find good trails.
Mix can't come. Black Bomba can't come. Bryce not sure.
Oh, I can come. Let's just do Monday though. Seems better.
Not sure on Sunday. So we have 3. Tentative Sunday, negative pa ako naman. Okay. So not tentative Sunday is Yuna, same thing, same as Black.
Many deals for a friend.
Jerome, how about you? Okay, Sunday.
I have many.
Monday, sure. Mix one can't tanan. But I need a DK on Ajara. Let's try on Sunday, and leave tomorrow as yeah. Just do whatever you want to do tomorrow. Sunday it is. Sunday we do Ajara on Sunday. So check out videos from Fat Boss, the most recent one, and Hazelnut for the straightforward explanation about the things. Hey, grabs guys on the progression. Let's call it a night. Let's call it a
Here,
day.
practice na ng disc. May missing
Yeah.
na.
Definitely need to disc priest.
2?
For yes, 2.
Sabi
2.
ko eh.
Well, just in case. Only
What's
one.
our guild rank now?
We're still number 3. But I'm hoping we could go for second or first on Mythic if we have the number. It's very
So if we get the first 3
Serious
bosses
is-
on Mythic, we'll be really high then.
Serious
Yep.
is 2 over 8 already, Mythic.
no, that's too bad then. They have
we
the
could
numbers.
do that. The bosses are easy.
Yeah, but they have the numbers of raiders. They have like 38 on their.
Oh
That's a big
yeah, since we don't have a solid 20 yet.
They have 38 people on their lineup. Almost can do 2 raids. Anyway, just enjoy the night. And tomorrow, we'll do it on Sunday. Thank you for coming, guys, and grats.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to definitely recruit. I mean, recruit,
You mean siphon members from other guilds?
I like the word.
maybe. Yeah, we could do that. We need raiders, not casuals. The guild is having more casuals than raiders at this. Can you see the roster we have? Yeah, that's good anyway, but yeah. Definitely need more. No casual, no problem. That's a good one.
Red.
Yeah.
PM kasi is Dan Stephen. 7 out of 8.
Ah, wag.
Uy, wag
Wag.
Joke lang. Joke lang.
Huwag na, baka pakarne ko lalo.
Para may incentive na lumipat yung iba sa kanila sa atin.
They should have decided